Good morning, Crable Mennonite School. Today is Thursday, November 10th, and my name is Riley.
And I'm Abby. We're back after a 2-week break. There was no Crable Live last week due to our middle school service project at the Unto warehouse.
Unto, which is formerly known as Gain, is a place that offers food and clothing to over 75 countries around the world. They've been helping others for over 30 years.
We were able to help us sort through clothes while we were there. The warehouse gets lots of clothing donations, and we helped to make sure that the clothing that gets shipped to other countries was in good condition.
We also took part in a simulation where we got to experience what it would be like to live on only a couple of dollars each day. We left with a greater understanding of the difficult choices those living in poverty have to make every day.
Well, as always, we like to take a look at the weather for the week. Since I'm typically your weather man, we will now hand it over to me. Let's take a look. Right now, the temperature is 44 degrees. The high during the day will be 68 degrees, with the nighttime temps of 55 degrees. Most of the day, there will be around 50% cloud cover. Tomorrow morning, showers will start at 5 a.m. and continue throughout the day. Thunderstorms may also form. Now, let's look at the week. The warmest day this week is Saturday with a high of 61 degrees. Then on Sunday, the temperature drops to 47 degrees and stays in the mid to high 40s for the rest of the week. Most of the week, we will be seeing a mixture of sun and clouds with the exception of Tuesday and Wednesday. On Tuesday, there will be a consistent cloud cover with rain later in the afternoon and night. Wednesday, we will see showers in the morning with clouds for the remainder of the day. Florida just keeps getting hit by storms, and this storm, Hurricane Nicole, decided to join the party. After hitting the Bahamas, Hurricane Nicole will make landfall in Florida this morning as a Category 1 hurricane. Voluntary and mandatory evacuations have been issued. People who have not evacuated are preparing for the storm. The part of Florida that is most vulnerable to the storm is the southwest, that is still repairing from Hurricane Ian. Nicole is going to hit Florida on the southeast, so luckily the sensitive areas will only be seeing around an inch of rain. As Hurricane Nicole travels upwards, it will become a tropical storm, but still has the ability to cause damage, which includes flooding and tornadoes. The runoff from the storm will hit us on Friday, which is the reason for all the rain that we will see that day.
Thank you, Abby, for that weather update. 2 weeks ago, the third graders in Miss Austin and Miss Rittenhouse classes were able to take a field trip to the Hans Herr house. They were able to get a tour of a house that was built in the 1700s and learn all about how they lived in the colonial times.
Some third graders were able to try their hand at an old-fashioned water pump. Back in the day, they didn't have faucets, so they would walk out to the yard and pump water when they needed it. Students also got to see inside a longhouse.
The longhouse was an example of some of the shelters that were lived in by Native Americans. Students were able to see some of their kitchen tools and how some of these tools improved after the colonists settled in America.
Well, today in our last day of basketball open gym in the middle school, Coach Shepard had been leading us each Tuesday and Thursday. Next week, the girls and boys teams will officially start their season, with practices starting on Monday.
This past weekend was daylight savings time, which means Saturday night was an hour longer than normal. This also means that sunrise is now about 6:45 in the morning, and it starts to get dark around 5 p.m.
Last week, we asked you what was the fastest speed ever reached by a train was. The answer is 374 miles per hour. This train was in Japan, and if it were in the U.S., it could go from New York City to Canada in less than an hour. Congrats to Mrs. Steffen's class, who had the closest guess of 351 miles per hour.
For this week's trivia question, we'll be talking about Native Americans, since November is Native American Heritage Month. There may be some tribe names that you recognize, like the Cherokee, Navajo, and the Sioux. But did you know that there are 574 different tribes in the U.S.?
The state with the most tribes is Alaska. What we want to know is how many Native American tribes are there currently in the state of Alaska. Give us your guess bet, and we'll be back with you next week to tell you the answer. Until then, we hope you have the best of days. Bye.
Bye.